Well, I can see video. So when I actually started the stream before, it said it was live, and I can see video on my section.
I check it from my phone on my laptop. There's no stream. It still says wait for Ranzee.
It's not coming up live.
Try and reboot it.
It's saying I'm live.
I've refreshed and I can see it.
Now it's going. Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay, so that was definitely nothing to do with me. All I did was just exactly the same thing. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube.
So that means nobody
saw his case. Yeah.
No,
we'll have to do it all again. We'll have to do it all again.
Yeah.
We're not doing it all again. Bugger that.
No, you're not in the bloody feed. Well, what's going on? What's going on?
It's definitely live. Look, according to YouTube, I've got the studio open here.
You're live. You're live
it's
now.
Saying I'm live.
I can see you live.
I can actually see myself.
Yeah, you are now.
Yeah, actually, Chris says we've got a stream now. So
I don't know why it decided not to be live before. But anyway.
Yeah.
This is the second issue YouTube have given me tonight. The first one was it wouldn't let me schedule. Normally I'm allowed to schedule. It just wouldn't let me schedule for some reason. So I just had to click the go live button and just sit there and wait for about 40 minutes.
That's why I said I couldn't find that before. I was asking about the link. So where's the link?
If you're ever looking for the link, there's always going to be a copy of it on my website, ranzee.com/live. You will always find it there because I update it. But anyway, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. So just if you want to blame someone, blame whoever owns YouTube. Google.
YouTube.
Absolutely. I don't know what we got up to, but we did say hello to Darren. So Darren, show your case again. Darren said hi.
Oh, bang about.
He's got car problems and he made this case.
Car problems. And I made this case out of some plastic tubs and a bit of glue.
Then Andy held up his boutique.
Yeah, the boutique, had the Corbot. I talked about San Francisco yesterday.
And then we quickly, now we're up to Ian.
Hey, right, okay, quickly.
Ian,
right, Andy and Grace's album is released yesterday. So thanks to all those people that have already bought it. It's 15% off on Bandcamp this weekend. I've just had a tax rebate, which is apparently I paid too much tax. I've got 460 quid coming, and I've just cleared all that stuff. Because this has to look like an office rather than a studio. Sorry, go on, Andy.
So you're putting it somewhere else?
No.
Yeah, no, I'm storing it. I'm taking it I'm actually taking it to my office and storing it because we're going to have we're selling the house. So yeah, exactly. And like I say, I don't want them seeing all my kit when everybody starts to come around the house. So most of it will disappear.
Absolutely.
Hey,
yeah.
The Hydrosynth is saying, as is the small stuff.
I always wonder, do you guys ever get sort of scared when you go away? Like if you leave the house for a couple of days?
Yes.
And you think someone's going to break in and take my shit, right? Even if insurance policies and all that sort of stuff, you're still worried about it, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, we've got really good neighbours, so they keep an eye out for us. But and we're in a small grove, so there's there is no passing traffic in that sense. But you do worry about it.
We've got cameras showing and everything. Let me get to Brooksy quickly. Brooksy, hello.
Hello.
Apparently we're still streaming, so you can talk. You're allowed to talk. According to YouTube. Yeah, thank them. Don't thank me.
Apparently Andy and Grace's album is out on Sinners Music on Bandcamp. So thanks to those people who've already shown support. That's really amazing.
Hooray.
So thank you very much. I could probably stick a link in here, couldn't I, if I remember where I put it?
You could.
I think I will. Right, there we go. Cheers. That was me. Quick hello. Bye.
Fantastic. Good job. Now, I don't know if this came out in the stream before. Just a reminder, I don't have StreamYard this week. Sorry, people. But I don't have the laptop here, so it's somewhere else being used. Okay, so we're going to stream quickly through a different stream. Don't get confused with live streams. We're going to go quickly through our segments so we can hit these topics hard this week, so we can give it a good workout. Starting with Funny Side. We'll be real quick this week with Funny Side.
Yeah,
first is Lockie. I mean, iLock. I mean... That was a good one.
I hate iLocks. I really hate iLocks.
Yeah. Then there was I can't even, this is so badly done that it just cracks you up.
It's superb. It's so bad it's good.
I don't even need to say it. You guys can read it. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
What do we do when Pan's right? Anyway, next. There's standalone first Blofeld. These are good this week, actually. These are really good. There's lots of if you're on synth memes on Facebook, there's lots of standalone memes. This one was pretty good though. Oh, I like this one. Big shout out to whoever that was that did that. Yeah, I stole it. And then there's this one. Let me get this straight. You spent $3,500 on an analog compressor because you can hear the difference, but you can't hear me calling from the other room. That's just perfect. And then there's Robbie's. I had to include this.
Courtesy of Mr. Spong.
Yeah.
This is shout out to Robbie. Shout out to Mr. Spong. Shout out to who actually did this meme. I think it was I can't remember who did it now. Someone tell me in chat. It might have been. Yeah, someone tell me in chat who it was. Anyway, it's really good. Look at the expression.
Rob's face is great.
It's just perfect, isn't it?
It is really good.
Moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't made it until you're a synth meme.
Yeah, Kent's in the chat.
Oh, good on him. Fantastic. Favourite meme of the week, please, people.
I lock for me.
I'm gonna have to
I like compressor. Yeah.
The compressor was good. Yeah.
I can't pick a favourite.
The tear came to my eye with laughter with the Peter Pan one. That
is funny.
That's the one that got me going. And I thought it was really, like when I showed someone else, I thought, oh no, this is going to be really cheesy, but they liked it as well. So I thought, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. Because I tend to laugh at cheesy jokes, and that's just kind of who I am. But anyway, that's me. Because you got to have a sense of humour being a musician these days, don't you? Hope you guys enjoyed synth memes. So that's good. We are on to the next. Hooray! Oh, the chatties voted, and I'm pretty sure it was a cross between
the owner's.
Ronnie's broken the Mustang.
The owner's broken the Mustang.
Oh no!
How, Kent? How?
Last week it was a broken. Yeah, there's lots of things breaking in his house. Like last week it was the Hydrasynth. This week it's the Mustang. Wow.
Yeah.
The owner's broken the Mustang. Oh, what a.
A few people are saying the Blofeld, the Pan, the bells, the compressor.
Oh, they were all good. You can't decide.
Let's just say we can't decide. All right, let's go.
That's a job well done then, Ram.
It was. Good collection. There was plenty more. It's news time. This one. I thought it was interesting, this one. This one is from our buddies at Expert Sleepers. Now, if you don't know who Expert Sleepers are, they are a eurorack modular people. Oz, big shout out to you, mate. And they're delighted to announce this new module called the Aloysius. Aloysius! It is a envelope generator, if you're wondering, but it has an unusual AHDW, or attack, hold, decay, wait configuration. And sometimes they refer to these as a trapezoid generator. And that is actually a cool thing. You need a trapezoid generator sometimes in your eurorack land because, you know, trapezoids have been around for a long time. Just ask VCS3s and synthes and things like that, whether they've had trapezoids. They'll tell you. And they were back in the 70s. Now, there is a little bit of a video here. So let's get this up and running. Is there any sound? Yes, there is. Here we go. coming around in a sec.
Yeah.
It's more like
I love the 80s.
Oh, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but these features are kind of what you expect. But
Yeah.
This isn't selling me eurorack, guys.
Okay. Why is this cool? CV control of each one of those potentiometers. Now, there's not many envelope generators out there that let you control each one of the elements of your envelope. Do you know what I mean? So having that is a really cool thing. And then secondly, having a HDW type envelope generator is also a cool thing. If you don't have something like a make noise maths, or if you don't have that sort of thing in your kit, this is probably going to be pretty useful for you. What was the price? It was £179.
Oh, is it that much? Wow, that's pricey then, isn't it? But it's cool. I'll tell you another reason why it's cool. All that range of Eurorack from Expert Sleepers are all named after Cocteau Twins songs.
Oh, yeah. That is actually pretty cool, isn't it? I wonder if... I'd say it's deliberate, isn't it?
It's not Dire Straits, then?
Oh, yeah. Well, if it is, I won't be buying one.
Is it not the Brothers in Arms model?
Hang on a sec.
Behave, you.
Sorry.
Sorry, Mark. No. Yeah, I'm going to tell him to shut up. Yeah, thanks. Cheers, Mr. Knopfler.
I didn't raise the issue. For God's sake. Well, I did actually originally, but now I can't get rid of it, can I? I'll just set myself up for a big fall every time now.
Apparently that name comes from a Germanic word meaning famous warrior.
Okay.
So.
Well, anyway, there's a few other things that it can do. You can actually independently and continuously adjust from exponential to logarithmic through linear, all these sort of things. Very similar to what you can do on the maths. I will keep mentioning this because people say, but get a math. You can actually get a two. You know how you get maths has got the two. You can get a single version of maths too, and it's a little bit cheaper than that, which will probably do some of this stuff. But
it's called function.
Function, yeah.
It has the function. It hasn't got the bits in the middle though.
Hasn't got the attenuverters in the middle, correct?
Yeah.
But this is also completely analog. So it does have discrete logic. There is no microcontroller or digital to analog conversion involved, and therefore there's no quantization of voltage levels or the response time. And that's actually a cool thing because you probably think Expert Sleepers, most of the stuff that they do is digital. A lot of the stuff they do is digital. So it's nice to see them doing this. I think
my only problem with them is those jacks. They light up. They're cool because they light up, but the connectivity with those jacks is always wacky.
Yeah, because if you get some types of cables don't sit in there and they fall out easily.
It just feels plasticky. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not a good positive lock. It's just
But I can tell you, on their audio interface modules, the lighting up feature is absolutely brilliant because when you're routing,
you need it for disting.
Yeah,
you got to have it for disting too.
You can see what's happening, and that visual feedback is really, really, really killer. All right, anyway, Expert Sleepers, Aloysius. It's available now apparently. So
Aloysius. That's as in like Saint Aloysius Gonzaga. Oh, sorry, my Catholic upbringing. Can't get rid of it.
All right, fair enough. I just like to pronounce things wrong just to piss you off, Brooksy. That's why.
That's fine.
That's fine. He'll correct you.
He will. Okay, leak time.
Oh yes.
So, Behringer have leaked a couple of things.
Have they really leaked that?
Sorry, I'm coughing in the background here. Coughing in the background. Yay. What is this? This is a two-voice clone. Where's Kent?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they definitely want to bring this out, and it's ready for production. So there you go.
Wow.
2XM. And you'll notice on the right-hand side there is separate connectivity for both, which I think is quite clever.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's the back. So you kind of similar stuff to everything else I do, right? Next, so Oberheimy sounds. This thing that's next, a PolySource. The PolySource is a draft from Behringer, inspired by the Moog source, and he really the guy that's sort of involved in producing the Pro-800. His name's Mark from Behringer. He really wants Behringer to make this. So this is a prototype drawing. This is not even, an actual thing in existence. This is just someone's idea. And I actually think it's a pretty cool idea. Polyphonic Moog voice. I don't think you could go wrong with it.
Too. Because although it's based on the Moog source, there was never a polyphonic Moog source, so it's actually a really great idea. This is actually an original-ish sort of thing from them. So yeah, I think that's a proper good plan.
Taking something that's good and then going, what if it was this?
The question I've got...
It's a good idea, but as Kent was saying recently, if you didn't design it for poly, unless they really changed it, it's probably not going to sound great as poly. It gets muddy, right?
Well, the question I've got is along those lines, Andy and Brooksy. The guy worked on the Pro-800, right? So is this going to be like Curtis-based? Because then it won't be anything like the source, will it? If it is.
Yeah.
Because you could definitely do it if it's Curtis-based, right? Because they've already done it with the Pro-800. But if it's going to be discrete VCOs, like, I don't know. I might be completely speaking off kilt here because I was under the impression the Moog source had discrete VCOs. I could be wrong. Someone will correct me in chat anyway. If it doesn't, if it's an oscillator on a ship, maybe it's an achievable thing, I guess. Last leak is this one. These are Behringer self-lots, by the way. This thing is interesting, isn't it? It's this is basically the guy. There's a guy called Miguel, who has done this up as a prototype, and it's basically a DX7 with CS80 analog filter and a drum machine and a few other cool features. And this is just him mucking around.
Basically a microphone, I think.
Anyone see the B-Ray?
Yeah.
D-Beam, B-Ray.
It's just...
Is that a low thing LCD screen?
Ugly.
I don't even know if it turns on.
Is
it a Photoshop job? Or is this actually real? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know, because it just looks like they took a microphone, can't they? And then just...
Yeah.
I think it's probably smaller. No, the microphone doesn't really have that shape. It's a funny thing.
The lighting looks realistic.
It's a great idea, but why stick it in that format? Why not give it like a 3-octave keyboard, or a bit like Korg did with the Op6? I think that would be better. But I mean, if you look again, a bit Volker style,
small center.
Yeah, but they're probably going to sell it really cheap, because I mean the others in that sort of size, that format were going to be, was it 100 quid, 130 quid?
Yeah, the Soul synths.
Soul, that was it. Soul,
yeah.
I was desperately trying.
Did they ever appear?
Yeah. No,
I don't think they ever appeared, did they?
Yeah.
They got embarrassed. They didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. They're the sort of ideas and.
Anyway, that is it. So there were the three Behringer. One was going into production. So the 2-voice SEM clone is going into production. So you'll be able to see that soon. I reckon 12 months, because I've been going back to my shows and finding out when we announce on our show when Behringer announced that things go to production, and then I've been working out when they release it, and it's usually about 12 months. Sometimes it's quicker.
Yeah.
So, this time next year, what is it? Middle of summer for you guys.
Yeah.
Yep. To be fair, out of a lot of the stuff that they've produced, you got to remember that a lot of these products aren't being made anymore. Some of them could be made. Some of them are definitely slaps in the faces. We get it. I'm completely agreeing with all of you. But I have to say, I've bought two of their products this week, and I've announced that that's what the show is going to be partly about. I bought this one, the Pro-800. Sequential don't make these anymore.
No.
And they never made an 8-voice version, and they never made a version with the Glee mods in them either. So, in that sort of situation, this is a cool product. And so far, I haven't noticed any issues with this that I've only had this for... Technically, I've had it for 4 or 5 days, but I've only actually literally had it for 24 hours because I went away last couple of days. So what I'm doing with this with you guys today is completely new, so we can play with it together. And the other thing that I bought was this. Let me get it out. The Edge, which is a DFAM, right? This is basically a DFAM. And I could never... I really wanted to get a DFAM, but I could never justify... Because Australia tax down here. I could never justify the price. Sorry, Moog, but really, sometimes your products are just really overpriced for what they are. Whereas we're about to find... I've never actually even turned this on and plugged this in yet. So we're about to find out what this is all about. And
I got a DFAM.
You've got a DFAM, haven't you, Darren? So you could probably tell me...
and the prices have gone up on them because when I got it, it was just... I think it was 520. I think.
Hold on to your Mother 32s and your DFAMs and your sub-harmonicans. Hold on to all that stuff because they will go up in price if the Moga phenomena happens, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. So
I got them all. I got the Mother 32 used, and the DFAM was on sale.
Work stats, I reckon they'll go up in price as well. The Moog factor does tend to sort of be a thing. The Moog price factor.
And we have to wait and see what actually happens with Moog, of course.
Yeah.
Whether it remains a premium company or whether this new... Is it in music? Whether
Yep.
Whether they strip it all down or whatever. I hope they don't. I can't see there's any value in turning Moog into a cheap jack brand. There's already Behringer for that.
Yeah, I think it'll be about efficiency because having looked at, as we said last week, was it 2 weeks ago? But the factory doesn't look very efficient. I think there'll be that's what will happen. They'll try and make the whole operation more efficient. But like I agree with you. I hope they don't screw it up. But time will tell.
Yes. And the other thing that we're going to do today on the show, as I mentioned earlier, is we're going to attempt... No, I'm actually going to do this, but if you've got stuff like this and then you need to go play live, what the hell do you do? And so we've got a gentleman right here called Darren who has a case.
Hey?
Show us your case.
Oh, right. Oh, my case. I thought he was going to say I've got that kit that I'm going live with. My case. Look.
There's his case.
One of...
What's going in?
What's going in there, Darren?
So what I'm talking about, if you haven't worked it out, is we're going to talk about setting up for a live rig. And
in fact,
Brooksy...
You carry on talking. I'll be back in a sec.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis has left the room. Brooksy's done it, so we can pick his brains. And, Ian's done it as well.
Ian does it. Andy's done it.
And Andy's
show you my case too. I got the Deffer joiner plates. So.
And Darren's bringing his. You haven't told
PE kit.
You haven't told the wife you're leaving her yet, mate.
Is that your deck with that on this kid?
I'm leaving.
I've got this
on the 5 train.
Sorry, see, behind my back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we all need bags, but
that's cool.
let's be a
So
little
just
bit more
like you're coming back
synthy.
from the gym.
Let's be a little bit more synthy and a bit more sort of, So let's do this topic first. Let's do planning the live rig topic first.
And the park bench.
Can we give this?
No, leave that out.
Can we give this a time limit of say half an hour? Would that be fair?
Sure.
Do you guys happy with that?
Yeah.
The click is talking.
All right. So what I thought maybe first is
Today.
Brooksy, throw you in the deep end because I've seen you use your rig
Throw
quite a
me
bit.
in the deep end. Right. I just think it's worth saying that there are always some people who just don't like playing live, who don't want to play live, who don't want to put themselves in the situation. And I don't understand those people because I absolutely have always loved it. I absolutely, and I just have always loved it. And I don't know. There's a thrill and an adrenaline rush from playing live. I suppose it's a sort of risk reward thing, isn't it? You go, and sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't. And as for sort of the processes, I mean, I've been doing electronic music live for a long time now. Really, I mean, we all know that back in the 90s, I was playing. I was taking loads of gear out. I mean, really, just like almost like a room full of stuff and setting it up on a stage. I mean, I look back now and think I've no idea how I did that. I mean, okay, I was younger and fitter, but it would take me at least an hour to set the whole thing up. Now, there's no way I could do that these days. Doing the EMOM things at an hour is not really. You can't do it. So when I got back into doing the sort of EMOM things, it was really, you've got a limited amount of time. So how do you do it? And oddly enough, it's that time limitation of you've got basically 15-20 minutes to get yourself sorted, which really focuses on what you do and how you do it. So one second. Oh, sorry about that. I'll bash my knee. Clumsy. I really should have done something with all these cables, shouldn't I? So, obviously in this case is a system which I can use for playing live and improvising for at the minute for myself for up to about half an hour. With when I've been playing with Grace, when we did a live jam at the end of Hardware Jams the other week, we were on for about 45 minutes, but that's two of us. It makes it easier moving from one person to another. So I'll just talk you through this as it is at the minute. Oh, God, blimey! No, I've got my headphones all in a tangle.
Don't kill it.
Don't kill it. Right. So that's the case. You can see I've got a loom made up, sort of pseudo loom, and on the end of this, every socket every plug has a label for which socket of the Pro 1 I stick it in. Oh, not the Pro 1, the
BeatStep Pro.
The BeatStep Pro. Thank you. So I grab that. Get off. Oh. So on the back of the BeatStep Pro, there are all the sockets for the CV. Where are they? CV, gate, and 8 triggers. So I use the CV and gate to trigger 2 of the voices in the rack, and I use the triggers to trigger the drums from the QD and the Bassimilus. But I also use triggers to trigger the steps on the step sequencer. So in this case now, I've essentially got a self-contained synth up here. These 2 modules together. I've got the DUP 111-6 module, which is a little monosynth in its own right, a bit like an SH101. The QD for various drums and things, plats at the bottom. Oh, which side is it? Oh, this is getting heavy now. Plats on this side for sort of digitally sounds and stuff. The Basimilus Iteritus Alta for sort of mad drums and stuff, going through a wasp filter. And then there's the sequencer, the 182 sequencer, which again is triggered so that it's not just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can program in different rhythms, and I can change that as I'm playing live on the BeatStep Pro, or going into then a mixer down here with 2 effects units on auxiliary sends. And at the top here, this one in the middle, the bit box. This is really sort of the game changer, and I just keep getting more and more out of it. I mean, I know Andy's said before there's so much you can do with it. I've really got into. I trigger this mostly from MIDI, from the KeyStep keyboard there. So I'm actually playing bits live, but I also do send this as well, triggers from the BeatStep Pro. So it's a quite a flexible system in its in itself in this case. I'm going to put that. Can I put that back a second?
Sure can. I'm just going to put these comments up quickly before they disappear. So Ian's saying he struggles. I'm just putting some comments up for a sec, Brooksy, just because they're going to disappear. Ian's saying that he struggles trying to find enough music to release into the world without complicating it further by burying his soul in the live, I think it was going to say next. And
well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, let's just get rid of that.
Yeah.
One. And then David said, live is an art, and I have appreciation for you folks.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'll have basic ideas and patterns set up before I go out. But within the process of the sort of set, I will often change those and change them up and add things in, particularly with rhythms, add extra steps and stuff to sort of build up the complexity of rhythms. See, I can have it all patched up and ready to go, as that is at the minute. And I've got my lid, and I can put me lid on it.
Do you practice it, Andy?
Yes, not as much as I should, but I do. And I think then that's what I do when I'm actually playing. But then there's sort of the practicalities. I mean, I bought that case because I didn't think that the Behringer Go cases were particularly suited for playing live. When they said, well, there's no problem with them. It's just you've got to put them in a box and carry a box. Whereas that's its own case. Put the lid on. It's all protected. It's ready to go. And then I put these in a big Kerber box and carry.
How many HP is that?
It's 104.6U, so 208. Okay. So it's a standard 104.6U case. There isn't a 1U row or anything like that.
Yep.
But the interesting thing is that I'm actually having from the word go, this lid, which is brilliant, has irritated me because I think, wow, why can't this be another 6U? Why can't I have another 6? Well, it's too narrow and you wouldn't be able to close it patched. So one of my colleagues who works in the tech department, basically with wood, woodwork teacher, I suppose you call him. He's going to build. he's going to build the case, the top half. We're going to reuse all the bits and the clasps. I've just ordered the rails, so I've ordered two pairs of 104 rails with threaded nuts to actually build the case, and it's going to be deep enough so it can be recessed by sort of 2.5 inches, so we can close it all patched. So we've even looked at ways of having it so when it opens, it can be supported from underneath. So just open it up and pull some supports down, and it will stand up. So again, that's just because I'd like actually to have a bit more stuff to take out with me here. But I think that's sort of it'll be really intriguing to see how that develops. To have a basically 12U case going out live, that'd be brilliant. Because I mean, I can take more of this sort of stuff out with me, conveniently. Because it's inconvenient to take that second case. I mean, I've done it. I've been out and played with the two cases. This one, these two at the top. But it's a bit of a ball ache. So that's why I decided to.
Does the Go case have a handle?
It does have a handle, so it's easy to carry. But it's
It needs a
I
lid.
have chucked it in the back of the car with that box.
That's what it needs.
Well, it's doable, and I've seen other people using Go cases. So, well, then I thought the next thing is things that I always take to a gig. But the first thing is this, which I've had for donkey's years, and this is an essential. I call this my techno toolkit. Because it's basically just a little toolkit in a box. Isn't it cute? Isn't that gorgeous? It was a Christmas present from my dad. I think I might have had this since I was about 18. I've had it years. It's just brilliant. I've got little spanners on, just in case.
Yeah.
The thing that Ranzee told me off about, because he said I spent too much. It's a Roland, because it says Roland on it. Roland. It's a light. It's my little light.
Yeah.
It's absolutely essential. Put it on the rack. Gaffer tape.
Yeah, gaffer. Silly
masking
gaffer.
tape for labelling things up.
Yep. Write this down,
A
Darren.
Sharpie pen. A
Write this
Sharpie
down,
pen.
Darren.
Yep.
In case things change on the spot. And plenty of these, which I got from Lidl. Little cable ties. Now, I know there are better ways of doing things, but these are small. They were cheap. So when you're done with them, you can cut them off and chuck them away. I know that's bad for the environment and recycling and all that stuff, but they are plastic, so they can be recycled. Or these things, which
Velcro.
Yeah.
Velcro strips.
Velcro.
Just for making sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You can get 100 of them for £5.
I actually recommend getting the roll.
Or get them free at get them free at Gearfest like I did.
Yeah, well, I did that too. But
if you can get yourself a roll of Velcro, and you can just snip off bits as you need it.
Make your own. It's not difficult.
Yeah, that's
the next thing is
I am learning. I've got one thing.
There you go. Look, he's hot. He's got it. There it is.
Industrial roll of Velcro.
Oh yeah.
They might be a little wide though, but that's useful because that's adhesive, isn't it? That one. That one you've got this adhesive.
Well, it's got a hole.
Sticking it. Yeah,
it's adhesive.
Great.
Yeah, this one is.
The last bit was just my plug board. So I always take my own plug board because the power supplies for these cases are bloody stupid. I mean, I don't know if anyone realises that they're absolutely bloody cretinous. Just show you this. This is the power supply for the Micro Zeus, the power supply that's in the rack. Okay, you've got a great long flex here, and then the bit coming out, which it's crap.
Yeah.
So you end up having it dangling off your rack like that. You've got to then sort of somehow support it on something.
You can buy extenders.
I know you can get extenders. You can buy extenders. I know, but why can't they just supply it with a thing that's 3 foot long?
Sony, the massive, huge company that they are, they do things like that as well.
Yeah, they get one end right or they get the other end wrong. You can guarantee it.
Yeah.
You can't have it right in both ends, can you?
Clagnut power supply.
Clagnut.
Clagnut power supply. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Babs.
Yeah.
Good on you, Babs.
That are the plugs. Some are going up, some are coming down, which has caused me a little issue.
And the last thing which goes with me as well is my lovely Lidl Hessian bag. Just advertising to other supermarkets are available, which has got.
I've got an Ableton one.
Got me. Well, that's much cooler. Well, I've got my stash of cables just in case I need to do it. So I'll always have those to hand. I've actually rarely done any mid-set patching. I don't think I've ever done any mid-set patching. So yeah, that's me. So
that's why I got that black bag. Little wouldn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. My best advice is just make sure that you keep it as simple as possible, and have spares of things because you will need them. Take spare batteries for your light. If you've got anything that's been driven off batteries, make sure you've got spares of that. Your main cables going out from whatever your mixer or to the main desk. Make sure you've got spares of those, because inevitably what you'll get to a gig and it'll only be coming out of one side and your cable's died. Okay. It's just, it's just those sort of things, and you can actually pack it away into. So I've just got there's a box down. You can just about see the box under there. That's the Curver box I take out with the Key Step and the Beat Step Pro and everything else in it. So I've got this case, the Curver box, and that's it. Because you put it on a table. I don't need stands or anything like that. Except this, I forgot to mention this. This is just a one of those sort of laptop stand things. I think, did I get it from IKEA? I can't remember. It's just a metal stand. It bridges. Yeah. As it's made of metal, it's pretty strong, and I can set it at different angles. So I can, and this will actually hold the case when it's on the desk. So it's at a nice angle for using. It can be fairly upright. It can be fairly flat, whichever I prefer. So this is another thing that goes with me to every gig.
Has that got rubber pads on the bottom?
Little bit, just about little bits, yeah. So it can slide about.
That's going to be important.
It's really good actually, and it's also got little rubber pads on the
bit where you stick your gear.
Thing that you think, so it also rests. It's not hugely substantial, but it's pretty rigid, and it really has proved itself time and time again. This thing, So the Synth East thing that I did with Robin, the case was sitting on this.
Find out where you get that from, because people will definitely want to see a link to that.
I either got it from IKEA or I ordered it off
Amazon.
I can't remember which now.
These are pretty good too. These fold up metal laptop cases.
You see a lot of people with those sort of things. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. People with NPCs often are using those.
All right. So your setup, Brooksy, was predominantly Eurorack, right?
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to Darren. Your setup is not going to be predominantly Eurorack, correct?
Yes, correct. But you see, because I like to not do things simple like Andy tells me to, I'll be able to do Eurorack if we decide to move that way. Yes, it will be Eurorack compatible as well as Bench compatible. So if I want to really just make my life an absolute misery, I can introduce Eurorack to my setup as well.
It's not misery.
That's what it's looking like.
It's not. It
oh,
won't
God,
be misery.
He's been influenced, Brooksy. He's been influenced. We need to de-influence him.
My influence is working.
I need to watch. I watch all Emons, and I need to watch people less. I need to stop watching these big like Glastonbury shows, because that's not what I'm doing. But for some reason,
an articulated lorry, have you?
No, and for some reason, that's what I set up for. So I'm it's coming together. It's coming together all right.
Yeah, you get your Glastonbury set ready, and then get ready for the local pub, because that's going to be more like
reality.
Well,
it should be a Glastonbury, Darren. We're all agreed on that. We would love to see
we all should be at Glastonbury.
It'll probably be a park bench outside in the
outside somewhere in Glastonbury.
In your grubby mat.
Should you be inside?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Darren's got these dreams with people diving off the stage to his music. Yeah. Mosh pitting.
Yeah.
So I can show a few things, Ranzee, if you want to see another live setup thing.
Definitely, just give us a sec. Definitely keep it handy.
Yeah.
So Darren, whilst we're talking about this, I think we can pick on you because you're in the planning stage. What would you like to know? Like what sort of fears do you have? Like what sort of ideas have
fears?
you?
Just anyone hearing my music.
Don't worry about that.
Can we ask a different question
Ian
first?
said that he. Yeah,
go.
To me or to Ranzee?
So what I'd like to know, Darren, is actually what you are planning. What is going to be in your system? Because once we know sort of what you're actually thinking about, then we can actually perhaps jump in and say, well, what about this? What about that? Have you considered? How are you going to arrange that? Are you going to put it? So I think is that okay, Rand? Do you not mind me jumping that one in.
I was going to ask that, but I was wondering whether whether Darren wanted to tell us or not. Maybe he didn't want to tell us what was in his kit.
That was going to be a bit of a secret to start with,
because I kind of had a feeling that might have been the case.
Oh well, okay. Well, if that's the case, Darren, don't answer the question.
But I will come back to it. There's still a few things, because Ian said, I think it was the other week, Ian said that he likes to use in-ear monitors.
Yeah.
And I think, Andy, you said you don't use in-ears.
No,
is that true?
Yeah. I have done it in the past, but
so
a minute. I mean, an EMOM 15 minutes is, you can get away with it. I can anyway.
I mean, I've used headphones, but my preference is to use in-ears.
I use headphones
because then I can move around a bit, you know.
Closed back or open back headphones? I always find in like a live situation, closed back with a noise cancelling is better, because you don't get that extra.
I've never used closed back headphones live. I've always used. To be fair, what happens with me is, even with the in ears. I mean, when I did the Whitby night, I ended up taking one of the in ears out, so I only needed to hear from one, because I sort of needed to hear other things, things that were going on in the room to some extent. The other thing is, and my in ears can have that effect of it being completely enclosed. That always feels a bit weird to me when I'm playing. So I usually I don't take them. I don't always. It's not these. I've got them up there. So here are my in ears, which obviously plug into the transmitter and receiver. So
these are wired, aren't they?
These are wired to a box.
Yeah.
That and then obviously the receiver is plugged into my Zoom R16.
Yeah.
Because I use the R6. I like to record everything, whether I'm going to use it or not. So, and I usually, for some tracks, I'll call it a backing track. It's not a complete backing track, but I will re-edit some of the music and then play and improvise over it with synths. So I usually have, it takes 8 stereo tracks. So I can it's there actually. So, oops. So there's the R16. That's organelle goes in stereo. Microfiche now, because that's replaced other things. That's now going in mono. But
the
it will go
R16 has an SD card recording on it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always record although this is mono, it goes into a stereo effects pedal, and then I take the effects in stereo. The the instrument is usually part of the process with a laptop running synths. So that's my normal sort of rig. And I mean, I like to change things around as well. So I won't always use that. Sometimes I might swap something out. I've tended to sort of gravitate now to the organelle. Always seems to be in there doing something. Not on every track, but I use that and the instrument most times, if I'm honest. But I mean, the last gig I did, I used toy guitar, which failed miserably. And so for 3 minutes, I'm there trying to get the bloody thing to work. So you have to accept that sometimes things do go wrong, But yeah, I record everything, and then eventually I'll probably come back to it and think whether I want to do something with it, So, and there's always an element of improvisation. So, although I may have 3 or 4 songs, and usually 3, if I'm an EMOM, I can do 4 songs in an EMOM, but the last song is usually completely improvised using no backing track of any description or no samples that are built into the R16. So I like to sort of switch it up a bit as well, and so it'll never be the same twice as well. So I will always play something different on this, over whatever it is I'm doing, really. And because I've been playing tracks off the forthcoming album, I may actually end up putting them out as a live album probably next year sometime, because they will be very different. I rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And although I did rehearse with the plastic guitar and it worked perfectly every time, come to the gig, it failed miserably. And I would record, I've even recorded the rehearsals as well. You know, I don't tend to video that stuff, but
one thing
I like to try. Go on.
Well, I was just going to
I
say,
like to try and video EMOMs.
One thing I noticed with recording, rehearsing and recording and stuff like that, and then when you go live, there's always something that, unless you're like completely regimental to what you're doing, if you're really, really very disciplined and you will not be bothered by any sort of external influence, which is not many people in this world. Most people will kind of little mold to the flow.
Oh, it will go wrong.
You have to be prepared to be able to ad lib. And one of the things I was going to say, really quick, because Ian, that point that you were just making about, playing the guitar and it not quite working, you know what I mean? One thing you've got to be prepared for is if you have something that you can quickly chuck on, if you need to get something else ready at the same time, you should have, like, if you can play something or if it's something that's pre-sequenced, anything like that, you've got to have something that you can just whack it in. Yeah. Because
that track, I'd only written, it's called Paper Knife, and a version of it will appear on the album, but I'd rehearsed it, but it was new. So what I never thought of doing, because every time I used the toy guitar thing, it worked fine. I thought, well, it'll be fine. You're right, I should have had a backup plan. Something else that I would have been able to easily swap out or something that was already existing, because I was already using that. I could have probably done something on the organelle had I planned something just in case. Because things do go wrong. There's always something. You're right. There's always something goes wrong. I mean, just to reiterate what Andy said, I take double leads every time. So I've got, I literally will take 2 of everything in leads and batteries and all that. Can't take power. And sometimes if I've got a spare power supply, I'll take a spare power supply. I always take a 6-way like Andy does, but I also take one of those sort of round 4 ways, 2 ways with long cables, power cables, because sometimes you have to run the mains from somewhere quite a long way away. I mean, use it in EMOM, it's not so bad, but I'd like to be planned for all eventualities. The other thing I always do, and most people won't want to do this, I always take my own stool. I like to sit down. And if I sit on a chair that's too low, because I like to sit sort of higher up on a table, so I always take my own drum stool.
Okay,
but not everybody would need to do that, So take what you think you need, and then take a few more bits and pieces just in case. I just want
to add one.
I expect it to go wrong.
Yeah,
things will go wrong
when you've got gear. Like Brooksy's got a whole bunch of gear, right? And he's sequencing it live and he's playing it live. What I've done on purpose is, because I use MPC, right, or Akai Force if I want to take that with me, but usually MPC because it's portable. I'll actually record some of the gear that that I want to play live. I'll record that, and then if I ever have any technical issues with that gear, I can always just launch that recording just as a backup. And usually people won't even know. So you've got, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about, Darren. You've got to be prepared for stuff to go wrong. Normally it doesn't, right? Normally you're going there and you think, shit, that was actually pretty easy. And you're probably thinking,
in this day and age, there's no shame in having some of it as a backing track. We're not doing karaoke here. We're playing multiple synths, over a range of samples. That's the way I look at it. I mean, all the big acts at Glastonbury were using backing tracks.
I don't play anyway, so I'm not going to be playing. Well, that's my main. That's my main sort of, because I work in the box, core. But I use the sounds from outside.
Your sampling is your core.
So So if I'm writing melodies and anything, I'm not usually. I mean, occasionally I do play them on the keyboard, and they're sort of accidental mistakes I like. But most of the time, I'm not to be putting dead mouse in it type of thing, going through just thinking what sounds right, and that's how I work. So everything's then recorded down to create my tracks. So I'm going to try and. I don't want to perform my tracks as is, that the ones that I've got in Bandcamp and things like that.
No.
But I'll be performing live versions of hints of those tracks, if it were, and completely new stuff that no one's ever heard before. So you'll spot some melodies, maybe you may spot some bass lines, but it won't be the track that you'll have heard in the albums or anywhere else. And then there'll be completely other tunes, tracks that no one's ever heard. That's my sort of plan. Also, the fact that I can still, even though it's a regimental sort of track layout, a bit like Dave MHO, but you know where he has he's just that type of style, but I still want to be able to just change instantly, you know, through an hour set, but that sort of thing, you know, so I'm not stuck within that.
So one of the other things I would probably suggest is practice your song changes as well. So practice going from song one to, because you don't want to have these awkward sort of silence breaks. And then that's what I was kind of saying before about having some sort of filler sequence or just something that you could quickly whack on if you have trouble getting something started or something loading or just anything like that will just trip you up. You can go bang, just launch that, and it's like firing off a mono synth through a delay pedal, and it sounds really cool. And then you can quickly fix your problem, and then you can, you know, fade that out.
That's one thing I was thinking. If anything went down or not loaded or not ready, I can still have some sort of really cool ambient sounds that I do like on some of the albums, but that can be completely separate from what I'm doing, so that it'll still blend into it. Because Andy said take that, and that's what I'm going to be using as my mixer. Then that little Sub-Zero 8-channel mixer.
Has it got some?
That's my main mixer. Has
that got a recording thing on it, or are you going to use an external recorder with that?
Well, it has to a degree. It's like the phone oil recorder, so you could record just like off there. So you could.
So do you actually have like a Zoom recorder that you can take with you?
I haven't got a Zoom recorder yet. No, that was on my list once my car is done.
Because I mean, I've done that with when I did one EMOM and just did the organelle, and I did 3 tracks straight off the organelle. And I was able to, out of the headphone socket of that, I put it into I've got a little stereo Zoom. It's an old H2, I think.
You can bring a laptop even as a recorder.
You could. I mean, I've done laptops before. I try not to use laptops now. I mean, you could argue that I'm using an iPad, so I am using a laptop. But,
but they will all work. They've all got, as long as they've got hard drive space in them. Yeah. So Darren, I'm just trying to give you ideas. Like, you don't have to buy a recorder. You could.
Well,
anything with a line in on it.
iPad's already on part of the set as well, so there will be an iPad on there doing some stuff. So, like I say, I'm trying to do all the basics.
I mainly use GeoShred synth, which uses MPE because it's really, really good for MPE on the instrument, and that's why. I mean, occasionally I use the Rolly cut down version of Equator on the iPad. For some tracks, but
I want to go to Andy now because Andy had some stuff he wanted to show. Yeah, Andy, I'm going to put you on full screen.
Your
coat, mate.
So a couple quick things. You're talking about covering for space and glitches and oh shit, what did I just do kind of thing. One of the great things people said in the past is repetition hides mistakes. So the many times I've actually hit the clock stop by mistake, or hit some other thing that caused everything to stop, and so I just keep hitting it. So it's like it's rhythmic, it's part of it, but you have to do it at least rhythmically, so it's not totally messy. So that actually helped in a recent. I actually did it last week at the EMOM in San Francisco. I screwed up and I did something. And I went, okay, I'm just going to repeat it at the end, and it's going to work. So. There's that. Also, I always bring at least some kind of live thingy like this A-frame for live percussion. And because it's completely live, there's no recording, there's no MIDI, there's no anything on it. I have to play it live during the performance, and it's also a good filler. In my first EMOM I did about a year and a half ago, first live thing ever actually, in San Francisco. It was a kind of a major deal because it was at a movie theater with this other group in a big crowd, and I'm like, oh my god, my first thing, I'm going to do it like this, where it's like I'm really on the hot seat. So I had brought this thinking, okay, I'm going to add some percussion to the set, and then literally one of my voices, one melodic voices on the modular, totally went out. It worked during the setup, the pre-test sound check thing, and then for some reason it just didn't work. That was really maddening. So I had to fill with this for a while. As I was fiddling with some stuff, I was also with one hand kind of tapping on the drum, kind of like I was just, why is this not working? While I'm fiddling with the stupid rig, which it's really the heartbeat goes nuts for that one. But so you got to be ready for those kind of things. They can't be happy accidents, or they can't be complete disasters. So I almost had a complete disaster because but I was able to recover but the problem with that is there's a reason why I got this set up. This is still messy from my last thing last week, but so you can see this wonderful depth for patch bay thingy on there. Oh, camera's reversed. Sorry, this way. Wrong way. There we go. This depth for patch bay that's totally full over here. Yeah, here's over here. Sorry, and it's got a RJ45 connectors between the patch bays, and I put the two racks together. Yeah, and all you do when you set up, after you've pre-configured everything in the mix, all these messy cables, and all you have to do is connect two RJ45s and your power, and your system's pretty much live. You don't have to sit there and fiddle with stuff. The problem I had with that first one, where I had to use the drum as a filler and I lost a voice, is I was doing what Brooksy was doing, where I had 20 separate cables labeled to patch on site between the cases. And it was that's just doomed to fail, right? No. Only failed the one voice, but it was doomed to fail horribly. So I got really lucky with that, and it still worked. But so this is half the set. Got the mixer in here and all the standard stuff. I got braids and
those
some
depth for patch bays work a treat, and they're amazing. I mean,
they're awesome. They're passive and they're cheap.
When I was using two,
they're really cheap. Yep.
So,
they don't take any more power. So if you add a power on your system, you don't need it.
Yeah.
So I use that, and then I have this other case, which is even more messy.
And Brooks, you could get that built into the side. You don't have to have it on the face because it's just a patch thing.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Keep going.
This one's even more messy, and in this case, I ran out of mults, so I had these little extra mults for sending stuff. Yeah, I got one of those. Because I use this actually for the hardware jam thing where we had to do stacked oscillators. So I had to actually stack my CVs so I could bring in different oscillators and get stacked sounds out of it. So yeah, this has these are nice cases. This is the IntelliGel 7U. It's 104. And it's 6 HP plus a 1U. I'm sorry, 6U plus a 1U layer.
They're the proper 1U too. There's two.
Well, yeah, because
the 1Us, isn't there?
Yeah, so I have a hack. I had it in here for a while. I got a special converter to allow you to use the non-standard 1U in here. They don't quite fit right. They kind of stick at an angle. But they also have different power connectors, which I didn't know about till I bought it. So yeah, they stick with the one that works with your case. That's the best thing to do. So I have all that stuff, patched and covered. I carry everything in, those separately. The problem is when these things in San Francisco I have to go to, I have to walk for blocks. Yeah, so you have to think about your whole event. Yeah, parking and just everything. It's crazy up there. So I have all my gear thrown in this Moog gig bag with a nice strap on it. Put that on my shoulder, and then I'm hand carrying the two cases covered. And then if I have the drum, it's slung over my shoulder in its case. And and occasionally I'll also have a backpack too if I need some extra goodies. But most of the time I can fit, the Moog bag's pretty big. So most of the stuff I can get in 3 packages essentially. But other thing people are talking about, like, you want to add stuff. So these little lights are great from Amazon. They're cheap. They even multicolor, so you can get your different warmth out of it. If I turn this the right way, you can see the different color temperatures maybe. Turn the brightness down. And you have different modes, different color temperatures. So there's white, there's warm, and there's mixed.
Because they have...
So depending on your lighting situations.
They have multiple LEDs in them, don't they?
Yeah. It's hard to tell on this stupid light on camera.
You can actually see it on the camera. Because when you were changing it looked like it was turning around. But it's just different LEDs.
Yeah. Just different LEDs moving around, yeah. But so this, charges, 2 of these were like, I don't know, maybe $30 or something like that for 2 of these or less. So they charge up quickly. They keep their charge for a long time, and they clip nicely onto the handle on top of the case.
You could put a Roland sticker on it and then say, "Hey, Brooksy, I've got a one."
Exactly. For the cases, I want to have the right angle because I don't want a vertical case. So I want the cases more like a 45. So I bought these brackets from ADAC. It's a Portuguese company. Problem is, they're really good, but I tried to make my own brackets from stuff in the hardware store, and the metal is just crap. It's not strong enough, or it's too heavy, or there's something wrong with it. It bends too much, whatever. These are incredibly strong, but here's the problem. When you design stuff that's supposed to have weight on it, and there's a pivot point where you screw in the leg, make sure there are 2 screw holes so you don't get this, right?
The twist,
they put 1 screw hole on the pivot point. So I had to come up with this wonky, cheap-ass C-clamp apparatus to basically lock them in place so they don't move. Right? I also had to add this pad because the C-clamp sticks out a bit and they weren't flush with the metal. So I added this little pad so everything sits properly in the bracket. But and there's no foot on here, it's just raw metal. So I put some kind of friction-y tape on the bottom of it so it doesn't totally slide. So I set these up, people start laughing. I go, what is this ghetto stuff, right? But once you get it all set up, this is awesome. I mean, these really are they're expensive though. For a pair, it was like $100, right? But I couldn't find any other solution that was workable DIY. It was all crap.
Unless you know a guy that works in a sheet metal shop or something.
Exactly, yeah. And also just a couple other quick things you need to worry about. Obviously I have to have dual power supplies for the racks. So definitely have your equivalent of this in your local country. A little thing, because sometimes you have limited power at your event you go to. You might only have 1 jack you can plug into or 2. So I use these little converters, and then this goes to an extension cord, which goes as long as I want it to go. So if I'm at a venue that's the most of the time I'm really close to the power.
But wouldn't a power board be better than that?
Yes, but in a pinch, this is cheap and super portable. So, and I'm not worried about power conditioning because they're going into a power strip on the site anyway, usually. So another thing too is you mentioned Velcro for the cable ties. The best is this Velcro used in telecom and IT a lot, which is Velcro. It sticks on itself.
That's the one I mean. You can get
that's
that
the best
rolls.
kind. So
yeah,
you get a giant roll of it. You snip off the little bits you need.
Yep.
And you can have your little tailored thing. I also have these little metal. I don't have the link handy, but these little they're about that long. They're little metal, rubber covered metal things with little kind of little bulbs on the end of it, and they're like almost like hair twist ties, but really firm. And they're quick to just go in there, wrap around some cables, and wrap around some cables.
We were looking at those the other day, weren't we? I remember that.
I have some. Yeah, I have some, and I don't know where I put them. So I've been using the Velcro, but they're really cheap too. You can buy a pack of those on Amazon for like, I don't know, $20 for a whole bunch.
And you just pause for a sec. I just want to catch Mark's just given us a super chat, so I just want to say thank you to Mark for the £10. Love the MacGyver job. Nothing wrong with a Swiss Army knife and a packet of matches.
Nope.
But yeah, with these things, so like obviously I got to carry the KeyStep Pro around. It's smaller than a normal keyboard, but it's heavy and it's a pretty good size. So all that stuff fits in that duffel bag quite nicely. Goes around my shoulder. So you have to, it's heavy, but I'm also walking multiple blocks. So I'm used to carrying heavy stuff. But if you're not, then you have to have some kind of alternative thing. I also use a skiff sometimes with effects in it.
I wish they made a
But lately I've been using this.
Oh, hang on, sorry. I was going to say, I wish they made a key step. Hold that up again. Sorry, I missed it. Oh, yeah.
This little fun guy.
Microcosm. Yeah. Hold the key step pro up again. Hold the key step pro up.
Yeah, sure.
I wish they made a key step pro, but with the key step size keyboard, right? So it still had all that stuff at the top, but not such a wide keyboard, because the key step has a shorter keyboard on it. It's about half an octave shorter or something. And
they have all these extra goodies over here.
Yeah. So for me,
in fact, the secret gem is they have this on the beat step too. The secret gem is this little area down here with the repeats. You do ratcheting and repeats with this thing. These are really nice.
I hardly ever use them.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's just a little bit too wide for me. Anyway,
it's and it's a metal case, so it's sturdy. I mean, I actually dropped it at the first EMOM I went to, and it still works.
Yeah.
But I just was carrying too much stuff. Right, that's the other thing. You gotta narrow it down. It's nice to bring everything you can. Assuming you have the ability and maybe someone
Darren,
help
are you taking notes?
Take care of yourself.
I hope you're taking notes, Darren.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got a big list here. It's all right. I took one trailer off now.
There'll be a test later.
That's my light. Bought from Sinners Music, $9.95 free shipping.
Oh, bit of a plug there.
That's because you didn't need to ship.
Yeah, I can't export them at that price. But
does that have does that have a XLR connection to it? Oh, sorry, BNC connection to it. That's what it's called, isn't it? You know how some of the mixing desks have the little BNC connection?
Oh, mine has that. My mixer has that.
That's the one I've got.
Lucky 1604 had that. That was really useful.
Yeah, it just charges off a micro USB.
Okay. In fact, the EMU Command Station has a built-in BNC light thing as well, just for the Groovebox.
Was it?
Shout out to these things again, because Andy
they're great.
These things.
I got some of those.
I got given that by I forget which modular company. Someone might be able to tell me. Can't think of it.
Well, Belka made the first ones. They were just meant for headphones.
That came for free with a module.
I got one for headphones. Yeah.
And Darren,
one of the things. Oh yeah. The other thing to just think about is think about visuals. I mean, not doing lots of stuff, but just, I mean, here's an example. Guy played at the EMOM at York on Wednesday, and he turned up with a guitar case. We thought he had a guitar. There was not. He had all his synths in a guitar case. He lifts up the lid of the guitar case so nobody can actually see what he's doing, and then he sort of disappears behind the guitar case for the whole 15 minutes. So just have a think about, people like to have something to see. The extreme of that would be Dave Walker as Mo, who brings screens, he brings lights. I mean, honestly, Dave is amazing to watch. I mean, he's amazing to watch anyway, but he brings so much stuff to watch, and his t-shirt and his hat. I mean, lots of us have seen Dave, but I mean, he literally turns up with a great big screen, which he has live cameras going to the screen, and he really puts an awful lot of effort into it. You don't necessarily need to go to that extent, but it was a bit naff watching a guy behind a guitar case, when you couldn't actually see any. You couldn't see what gear he had, and you couldn't see what actually was doing.
Yeah, all the events I go to up here, they have guys doing that stuff already. Either a proper video synth artist with the whole expensive video synth layout. Yeah.
They have overhead cameras and GoPros and stuff in a lot of the places now. So you don't even have to do that. Someone else will do it. Like the venue will do it for you.
Yeah. One guy even does Unity graphics live. It's pretty fun.
Because I kind of feel like that's something a venue should do. They should provide.
I mean, to be fair, it should be the venue, but I mean, certainly in New York that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. All right, we've gone 20 minutes over time, so I kind of feel like
one more thing real quick for Darren's asking about the stuff. So you're talking about also not just CYA, but also having some consistent background thing. I mean, if you are bringing the modular, you have like a Morphogene or you have the Bitbox or something like that, to put a few ambient things looping through some effects that you can bring in and out. That way they can just keep running. You can bring them in when you need them, or don't use them at all, but they're always there.
Give all the secrets away, Andy. Don't.
Well, I mean,
or just some recordings, just some recordings of
exactly.
people
That's what I do with
and,
a couple channels of the Bitbox or the Morphogene or whatever.
Yeah. So. And just have it mangled or automatic mangling up and just do some weird
Speaking of the Bitbox, you can use it as a live recorder as well, which I have tried to do once and it went wrong.
Yeah. All right. Gonna have to put a pin in it, guys. Darren, any questions from any of this stuff? Maybe we can, if we get the time at the end of the show, we could ask them. Or we can ask them in the next show, maybe. Maybe that might be an idea. Do it in the next show. All right. Who wants to see the Pro-800?
Yeah.
Who's thinking about getting the Pro-800?
I'm not going to get it.
Right.
No.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, how much are they in your neck of the woods? How much are they in the UK? £350.
£350.
About 400 US. Is that right, Andy? Or are they $4.99?
I haven't priced them in a while, but they're cheap. Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
So for an 8-voice dual oscillator polyphonic analog synthesizer, it's pretty damn cheap. But that shouldn't be the only reason why you'd want to get something, right? Just because it's cheap.
No.
You'd probably want to get something because you like the actual sound of it. So don't go rushing out and buy it just because it's cheap, because that's probably not the right motivation to buying something. That would probably be my
I've been doing it all wrong.
Yeah. And you guys can hear that okay? Or does that need to go up a bit?
You go up a little bit.
It sounds like Flash Gordon from 1980.
There's no effects. Let's see if we can get some envelope tails happening here. Just to hear the polyphony, right? That's how you can prove polyphony. So it sounds like a Pro 6. It sounds like a Prophet 5, probably. People would say it won't because the filter's different. You know, it probably sounds different, like at a pinch, but you can get this thing to sound pretty good. The patches on this, I think, are actually pretty decent. Classic brass sound. It does have through MIDI. It does have aftertouch and velocity sensitivity. This is aftertouch. So if I go to here on my keyboard, so I'm not going to be using this key step, but I'm just showing you. I will just press it to this point here, and it makes this sound. And then I go down, you can hear the aftertouch. So it does respond to aftertouch, which is cool, I felt. And a few people were talking about, Chris was talking about problems with the noise voice on this. I haven't had any problems with mine, so it just, there might be some dodgy ones out there. I'm not sure. This has a 3-year warranty. If it's anything dodgy about it, just send it back to Behringer through your music shop. They'll give you another one. What I thought we'd do first, though, is compare. This is the Pro one. They are the same size, by the way. I'll just prove it to you. They're the same size. Okay. So this is the Pro one. Let's move this back a little bit. This is the single voice one that Behringer brought out a few years back. Okay. And I just thought what we'd do is just quickly look at what did they... I mean, it's a different synth. Let's not like split hairs, okay? It's a different synth. But what did they not include that was on here, in here, other than the fact that it's polyphonic and blah, blah, blah. So one of the things you can notice is that the lay of the land, the whole oscillator section on this is actually smaller than it is on that. It's kind of like a trick of the eye, because this is all wider, right? There's more knobs on this. There's no patch logic or sequencer or arpeggiator or anything like that in here that's on this, right? There's none of that. There is a little arpeggiator here, I should say, and a little sequencer here. But there's none of this sort of digital logic stuff here. But what's majorly missing is a lot of the CV connectivity up the top. And I kind of thought, that would have been cool. What could they have done with this? I know it's a completely different synthesizer, right? But what could they have done with some of this CV connectivity? And I would have thought the modulation one would have been a good one. The mod wheel with CV, right? The reason why that would have been a good one is because you've got your modulation section here down the bottom. And I guess about the only thing this can do that's external to is to have a clock sync with MIDI, okay? But sometimes it's nice to have control voltage coming in like this one, and then you can assign it to the wheel on here, but it actually takes it from that. That's actually a cool feature of the Pro 1, and I think that, personally, I think that's missing from here. Some of this other stuff you probably can't do because it's a polysynth and the way the voice structure works, but I thought that I could have definitely done sort of LFO connectivity on here. That would have been handy, because all you've got is sync in, filter CV in, and the rest are all to do with outputs. So there's really only kind of 2 inputs from CV on this, technically. So yeah, so there's a bit of difference for you. So don't know if anyone's shown that yet, but you could probably use them together. Wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't work out. All right, what did we want to do with this? Let's have a listen to. Who's watched the Starsky videos? Anyone?
It was very good.
Not on that one. I haven't, no.
Let's do some
that
noise.
side-by-side comparison was really good.
This has still got that. There we go. This is not going to be the right patch for that. Here we go. All right, this is just the noise and the filter. So a fairly standard sounding noise, would you agree?
Yeah.
Right,
that was actually very, very smooth. The Prophet 600. I remember when I played one at Music Ground in Doncaster years ago. The actual knobs were very steppy. The sweep was very steppy on the resolution. I don't know if the Gleegly mod corrected that.
It did. Yeah.
That was beautiful. That was beautifully smooth.
There is some LFO. There we go. Get rid of that. All right, so we can change. This is just one oscillator. There we go. So that's saw, triangle, square with pulse width. So let's add the second one in. It's very courtesy, isn't it? I'm peeking here. That's rumbling my headphones. So I'm pretty impressed. Like,
That sounded great.
I haven't seen anything that annoys me yet with this. Like, you know, if you spent thousands on it, there'd be things that annoys you, right? But because you've only spent hundreds on it, it doesn't annoy you. The patch, you'd probably think the most talked about criticism I've seen on this is people saying, "Oh, I hate push button, you know, data entry things." I probably agree. I don't like them either, but they're actually quite tactile. There's actually quite a definite feel to it. You get instant feedback once you've done something. So if you're just changing patches straight away.
So there's no up-down thing. You have to key it in.
Yeah, so what I would have thought... Now, I don't know. I haven't actually read the manual yet. What would have been nice if you could maybe hold preset down and adjust the value and go up and down, you know, but you can't. So I don't really know what that does. So that would have been handy. Maybe that is definitely something they could implement firmware-wise, the way I see it. There might be something. Someone in the chat will probably tell me.
There are more parameters under that section, which the value knob will adjust.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a
Go
question?
on the settings.
I can't see it on the panel. The Pro 1 has a hold switch. You flick it and it just drones.
Yeah.
You know the switch I mean?
Yeah. That's a really, really cool feature. I can't see it either.
No, perhaps there isn't, which is a shame because you do it and it just sets one voice off and then you can play over the top. No, it's just a thought.
I should probably
a sustain pedal, you see.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't look like there's a hold, does there?
There's a pedal out on the back of it, isn't there? Didn't I see one earlier?
There's a foot switch.
MIDI in. Is that
MIDI out?
Program change. So
it's MIDI out, isn't it, on the back? Or is it MIDI in? I can't see.
Is it a program change foot switch or is it a sustain?
That would be a sustained foot switch. I wonder if it's actually... I could probably read it in the manual here. I've got the manual open. The foot switch... You can use the foot switch to do things other than foot switch stuff. Like, for example, you can use it to record the endpoint of your sequencer, for example. There you go. I'm trying to sort of work out what else you can do with the foot switch other than
So it has an arpeggiator, right?
Yeah, the ARP is here.
It's got
And a latch. I hope it has a latch as well. I don't see a latch.
I don't see latch either, but
damn,
I'm trying to find
foot
it.
switch.
The foot switch can be used as a latch for new patterns of notes. So if you switch to unison track, a key press, either single voice unison mode, the foot switch can be used as a latch. So there you go. It is a sustain thing. So that's probably going to do what you want, Brooksy. Okay. I don't see any other mention of the word latch at this stage. By the way, if you've ever looked at the manual that Behringer bring out for this, it's in 50,000 different languages. And you go from one page and then it's got a little bit of English. And say if you spoke Spanish, right? It's got a little bit of Spanish, and then you have to turn 40 pages down to get to the next part that you want to read. That's the next part of English or Spanish or whatever your language is.
Hey, Ranzee, you're getting a bit of a Dalek voice.
Am I?
Yeah.
Not at my end.
Just for a bit.
Not at my end.
Not at my end either.
Really? Oh, okay. I heard it for a minute and it's gone.
Runs. Does it come shipped with an online PDF manual?
It has a manual. I can't remember if this is the Edge manual or the. So that's the manual that it comes with. I'm not going to open it, but it's.
All right, so it does come with it. Oh, that's good actually. Well done, Behringer.
So it does come with the manual, and it's in that many languages. So
I'm not a fan of the manuals. They're not that great.
It's probably only a few pages long.
No, they're not.
If it was, and it also comes with this bunch of stuff as well. So you've got, because don't forget, you can pull this out of this desktop case, right, and put it into your eurorack, and that's what that ribbon cable's for. There is a USB cable, and there are two TS style 3.5mm patch cables that you can use, which I thought was nice. They don't have to give you patch cables, and they do. So I thought that
is an awful lot of HP to give up.
Oh, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the same size as the Neutron, the Pro 1, all those ones. Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, it's a big thing in a Euro.
It's about, what is it, about 80 HP or something? 70 HP or something. It's something insane like that. Unison is something that I haven't tried. Doesn't really sound that unison. How do we... I'm trying to work out how, like, with a unison, right? You'd want to detune it.
Track.
Yeah, that didn't sound like multiple voices, did it?
No.
There is a unison patch on here. Yeah, put it back on. Yeah, maybe it is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's thicker.
Yeah. We'll play 3 notes.
So how do we detune it?
That's probably in the programming section somehow.
You have to key in the detuning value.
Use your fine tune.
Doesn't seem to be doing anything.
Weird.
Anyway. So you can sync it to different clocks, MIDI, USB, external, internal. So the logic in it is sound, I think. Like it's, what you'd expect. You can't expect this thing to be like a fully, I don't know, thousands of dollar synth type setup. But what you would expect from this is what you're getting. And I think one of the things that you may dislike or may like, depending on how you look at things, is that they've got a sequencer here, and you've got 2 sequencer channels, and they've got an arpeggiator. So like if we find a relatively... Okay, turn the up on. Let's change the sync to MIDI. Let's see if this is assigning it. It's responding to clock on my DAW. So there you go. So the syncing works as you'd expect.
Can we try Chris's suggestion in the chat? He says if you hold down a chord and then click the unison track on, you'll get a chord hold, chord memory.
Let's do a nice chord. Let's do an E.
That works. Brilliant. What a great trick.
Yeah.
If you keep hearing that filter go, that's my key step going into aftertouch.
All right.
There we go. it's re-triggering the envelope each time. Here we go. 2 patch cables, 1 USB cable, 50 milliwire. Okay, hold down the cord and you've done that. Unison detune seems to be only available with the Music Tribe app. Yeah, I haven't even tried the Music Tribe app yet. Should we have a look at that? Because I kind of feel like I want to see it, and you guys probably want to see it too. And there's me back, everyone. Isn't it an awesome looking back?
Nice neck.
I'm just trying to find a USB cable that is connected. Is that connected? I think it is. Okay, sorry about the mess.
So, as I was saying to you before the show, there is an update. Behringer have immediately released an update to make the envelopes actually snappier, which I think is a good thing.
Behringer Pro-800. Probably should go to their website and download the latest Music Tribe app, because I've no doubt they would have updated it.
All right. Would it not just recognise it? I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right.
I haven't probably got the latest version here because it's been a while. Just give me a sec. I'm just downloading it. 1 second. It's downloaded. Just installing it. There. Cool. Synth Tribe, where are you? There. Open. Okay. Sorry, I'm not showing you what's on the Mac, am I? There we go.
Yes. Sweet.
Get started.
Okay, so this is what you can do with the app. You can change presets. There's an up and down there. I don't know what that does. You can change. Oh, that's right. There's 4 banks, and I'm guessing because it's a 2-digit thing, would that be 4 banks of 99? Yeah, because that there shows 0 to 399. Does that make sense? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some MIDI settings there. Voice cue.
What does PC mean? CC is a controller. What's PC? Oh, pitch control. That's a pitch bend?
Yep. Cool.
Local off. Soft through. Okay.
Voice spread.
So,
so that would be what? What would that be? Because this is a monophonic, right? Yeah. So what's voice spread?
Or is it? Is the output on a stereo jack?
It's a single jack. I haven't actually tried
Yeah, but is it like a?
I haven't tried a TRS on that. Yeah, I haven't.
That's the word, TRS.
Yeah. But you can modify all the stuff like the pitch bend, semitones. That is actually something that I wanted to change because I didn't like that. So I don't like pitch bends that go like this.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's too aggressive. I like the couple of semitone ones. So let's...
I think on the Hydrosynth you can go the full range. You can go many octaves.
Just try one. It's a bit weird with that unison on. Do you have to send it? I thought it'd be instant. I don't know. Maybe it's not working. There's the ARP stuff. Internal, external MIDI, USB. beats per minute. You've got a slider there. What the hell?
4,000 beats per minute. That'll be turning
They
it
have an
into
iPad version
into
too, right, Ranzee? So
What's
it's a little
that?
more immediate. Don't they have an iPad version as well for the Music Tribe?
I don't have an iPad version.
I have
No.
no idea.
I don't. Oh, okay, I thought they had an iPad version, so it's more tactile.
So there's quite a few settings on that sequencer here. Oh, and okay, so there's some sort of bias.
One pulse per quarter.
Yeah, with the because you've got a VCF or filter CV in on this, and there's some sort of attenuator on this too. So that's interesting. Now let's see if there's an update for this. Loading.
Ooh.
Nothing's happening. Shall we?
Well, it's exciting.
It's
It's almost like it's reset the machine. Let's close this.
No, don't. No. You might end up. Oh God. Oh.
Yeah, don't corrupt it. You don't want to get stuck.
No, it's nothing's happening to it. It's there. It's. I can change patches, everything. No, everything's.
Oh, mic
right.
shifters. Yeah, Chris is just saying. By the way, the firmware update takes ages in capital letters.
All right, maybe I should leave it then.
Well, maybe.
That's
It
the
would have
old
made
thing. You
gripping,
get what you pay for,
gripping
right?
viewing
So-
just.
Oh, it's reset itself. Okay. Still says loading. Why is it not telling me what firmware I've got?
I think it's doing a handshake, isn't it? It's working it out. You thought it would go fairly quickly, though.
All right. Well, anyway, while that's doing that, why don't we?
Dedicate the next show to the live firmware update special.
Yeah, let's not do that.
That's crazy.
Really not a good idea.
absolutely.
Where is my Edge? Who wants to have a look at the Edge?
Yeah. Oh, that I am interested in.
All right. So, sorry, Music Tribe, but you suck.
Like I said, you get what you pay for, right? You know,
Yeah.
Plug the Edge in. And let me guess, this is going to need a TR 3.5mm output on this. I don't see any larger jacks.
Yeah, and that's on the top.
Yeah, okay.
Just like Crave.
Yeah. Can we just move that back a little bit more? We'll use this MIDI connection here. Because the other one's got USB anyway, so it doesn't really need it.
MIDI schmiddy.
MIDI in. I don't even know if we need MIDI in on this. Okay, now we need some sort of audio. Some sort of audio, governor. Okay, output. Hello, out. Out is black. So, I'm guessing...
Oh, phones out. Velocity. Yeah.
Phones? Should we just do phones? Okay. It's on.
Surely the audio's got to come out of something other than a phone's jack.
It's
on
blinking
the
when I'm
back
pressing
panel,
things.
probably. Is there a back panel audio out?
No, there isn't. The back panel just
Really?
has that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's kind of interesting. All right, now I'm guessing we need to give it some sort of. Is there a mixer in this?
Because I'm pretty sure the DFAM has the audio on the back as well as off the panel. So
Yeah.
There's levels here. Frequency.
I haven't touched mine in a
Yeah,
while.
the DFAM has a 1/4-inch jack out on the back.
At the back, yeah, right, yeah.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Let's play. All right. I can't hear anything at the moment. Because I know why I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything because I need to turn whatever that's coming in on to on. Okay.
Half God, half beast says it's the VCA mono jack.
That one there.
That one.
Okay. Well, we definitely heard something when I went like that, didn't we? All right.
Well, all your envelopes are set to nothing.
So we've got to do that.
Cut-off and resonance are right down. So a little VCA amount. The volume's there. What's going on? This is riveting stuff.
I know, I'm not getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, between the app and this, it's
It's
amazing. Yeah.
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 This is for me live.
Oh, here we
Don't
go.
be such a cynic, Andy.
I'm getting
That's
noise
why you
now.
need the sound beds, Darren. That the sound bed's ready.
I'm triggering it with the key step. Let's turn some effects off. Okay. That's why we couldn't hear anything before, because it wasn't triggered from USB.
Switch the hard sync off.
Hard sync? Where's that?
It's in your oscillator VCO2.
It's very quiet, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I'll put some gain on it. There we go, we got some noise. Don't forget, this is a percussive synth, so. What was that, Darren?
You can take the noise off.
So noise is where? There. That's there, right?
You're using noise to modulate the filter at the minute as well. Sounds good though.
I thought I turned the effects.
Is that just my end, or is there noise on the audio path?
No, that I had a little bit of effects still on. There we go. That's better. Because you can have the magneto. Play with the magneto with it. Alright, so by the way, guys, I have never used a DFAM and I've never used an Edge before, so this is literally the first time I've ever turned it on.
Well, noise out of it.
Good. It's interesting.
Hey, sounds like FM.
Now you get into the DFAM area.
Does anyone know what type of oscillators are in this? Are these Curtis oscillators, or are they actually?
They'll be the 3340s.
So you reckon that they've just put them in there?
The Crave is the 3340.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What's happening with
Very moist.
Very moist indeed.
Yeah.
It just says it still says loading on that firmware update, so I'm guessing that is that's done.
Well,
Done like a dog's dinner.
Just leave it. Chris did say it takes. He said ages in capital letters, so it probably really is a ages.
So Darren, on your DFAM, you literally
Which I haven't used for a while. Yeah, go on.
You're literally just playing around with these knobs until you get a sort of percussive sound that you like. Is that kind of what you do? Does that kind of deal with this thing?
Yeah, basically, yeah. This is me with my DFAM.
No, do that again, Darren. I missed it.
That's a meme if ever I saw one.
No, that'll be a caption on it. Yeah, no, exactly. That'll be on
Andy
that'll
will be
be
on
live as well.
Andy will be on
Basically,
it.
find a
Don't
setting you
forget
like,
when
and
I-
then you start tweaking it a little bit, and that's your when you're performing it. Those few motions are the changes you make.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to see when you're playing live, Darren.
Hey,
They
a lot
want to
of
see
my
you hiding
weird
behind the
weird
guitar
sounds have come
case.
from my DFAM. Actually, I've not used my DFAM for a long time.
Well, it's kind of like an FME sort of, filtery sort of.
You do get sounds out of the DFAM that you're just not expecting. That's why I call it the happy surprise. Because
That sounds pretty cool.
It's a fun box.
Yeah. Even melodies when you've got when you've actually got the sequence going, just the pitch and the volume.
Yeah, you can also get the typical Moog out of it.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's what I mean. That's what I get with the DFAM.
Now it's got Nitzer
Yeah.
Wow. That was actually getting loud.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like this monster that's just out of control, and you're trying to tame it. And then it's probably saying, "No, you can't tame me. I just want to be gnarly and aggressive and like just crap all over everything." That's what it feels like. That was just a real quick, like, horrible.
It can be very subtle. I've gotten some subtle stuff out of my DFAM. So
Just changing that pitch mod is gonna make a difference too. And the hardware synths and the shapes of the LFOs. It's almost like a Joe Walsh song. Life's been good. Well, a real quick and dirty Edge. So no one wants to buy an Edge now.
I think you've done a good advert.
I'm interested.
it sounded fine.
It's a bear.
I'd want to buy all three, so I'll wait for the spice. Well,
So one thing about the
as well,
Pro 800, I thought I'd
We
mention.
have plans for that.
So I'm in the middle of finishing a few tracks on my album that I'm doing, right? And one of them I wanted a brass sound, and I had a Roland brass sound recorded, and I thought, oh, this is lovely brass sound. Thank you, Roland. And I recorded it, and then like I got this thing like a couple of days ago, and I put the brass down through, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice brass sound. I mean, it's so what you'd expect, because it's like what we've been brought up on from the 80s, that type of brass sound, analog, everything. And then I went and changed the patch in my track to the Pro-800 brass sound, and it sounds so much better. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Behringer? It's kind of, it's a bit weird, So far I've been impressed. That's all I can say. Like, I know there's been a lot of heat about this company and what they've done in the past and stuff like that, but geez, sometimes they, like the Model D that they brought out, brilliant little Model D.
Model D sounds good. And I love the Neutron.
I like my Model D.
Model D's gone strong. I've had mine for years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not selling that anytime soon.
No, the Model D, it's great, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, that's the point. I mean, as you know, I've got the original Pro 1, somewhere behind my head, wherever it is. Which way do I go? That way, that way? Oh, I can't be asked. There it is. You can just see the corner
Up there
of it.
somewhere.
And the Behringer Pro 1 nails it. It's the same thing. It's wonderful. And I see no reason why these other clones shouldn't be either. So I think one of the things that Starsky Cars showed was just how close Behringer have got with the Pro 800. I mean, there are always going to be differences, because there's always differences between two analog synths of the same type side by side anyway, particularly vintage ones. So it doesn't mean to say that his Prophet 600 is going to sound the same as one belonging to his mate that lives somewhere else, But anyway, that's we've talked about that sort of thing before. So, but yeah, I think that Pro 800, it seems like a really good idea.
I'm probably going to have people raging at me here, but I don't care. Like, I probably won't ever be able to afford to buy a Prophet 5 from Sequential, right? That's just
exactly.
That's life. I mean, I don't drive around in a Ferrari. I'm not rolling in money. I'm not going to go into debt like some musicians do. I don't make enough money. I don't make any money from my music. So that's the reason why, for me, I think a Pro 800 is probably nowhere near what a Prophet 5 is going to sound like, because I know they sound different, but I can get it to sound like, a Prophet 5-ish sound. So it's not like, you can't get a Roland to sound like a Prophet. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that, but you can definitely get close. And one of the first things I did, and JX3D and Makeshifter in the chat will contest to this, and if you want to scroll back on Discord, you'll be able to see I posted up a like a sort of string sound to a MIDI sequence that I did with years ago. I started remaking, or Axel Soft Music will know this, because I started remaking Magnetic Fields Part 4. And one of the things that frustrated me with it is because I could never get a VST Prophet sounding the same as what the original track sounded. It just, no matter what I tried, it just didn't sound right. It sounded too digital. It sounded incorrect. But then the other day I plugged this through MIDI, and I sent the MIDI notes through a brass patch on this Pro 800. Not a brass patch, sorry, a string patch. And it sounded beautiful. It had that sort of, the Curtis string, like the sawtooth with the bitey filter, it kind of has a little bit of a metallic twang to it when you've got sort of notes, in different harmonics playing. It's kind of got a little bite sound to it, and it's very unique compared to a lot of the other synths out there. So to me, that was the sound I was after, and I mean, Chris said that it's not quite the same, and that's, I said, yeah, well, we need to muck around with the envelopes and get it, to perfection, but it definitely was the sound that I was after, and I could never get that same sound out of a VST. So, and I literally just dialed in a patch. I think I changed the filter slightly, and that was it. And then Chris has just asked me in chat, how quickly did I do that? Very quickly. Like minutes. Whereas I spent days mucking around with those VSTs, trying to get them to sound right. So sometimes, It could just be a simple get the right gear for the right job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the latest, so half got half piece. I have the latest Arturia Prophet 5 VST. Yep. And I could not get it to sound the same. To me, it always had some sort of, I don't know. How do you describe it? Your ears are the best judge for anything, right? So when something just doesn't sound right, it just sounds like it's an okay replacement. It was okay, but it just never really gave
thin?
me what thin. See, this is the word, thin and thick. Us Kent, right? Thin and thick.
Well, like too much high pass filter, too much,
Could be. I mean, I could have been really crap at mucking around with the VST too. So who knows? Maybe you could get the VST to sound right. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like it had that presence about it. And presence is a good word, because presence means that the sound, when it's coming to you, especially if it's a familiar sound, like I've listened to that track all my life pretty much, right? I know exactly how it should sound. And when I hear something trying to be like it, it's like, nah, sorry, but you just don't have it. That is what I'm talking about. It's kind of like when you hear someone play a guitar in a music store and they're trying to play Stairway to Heaven, and they might be really good, but they just don't get it right. And it's like, sorry, but you just don't have it. It's one of those things.
Yeah. Because you need Yuhi's repro.
That's what I'm reading too.
Well, yeah, they do
Manny's.
Yeah.
Probably. But the thing is, the amount of money that I've spent on VSTs over the years, probably I could just justify paying for the Pro-800, because it ain't that expensive. In Australia, it's $699, which is really, when you look at the pound per Australia at the moment, that's £350. It's about exactly what you guys are paying for it, right? So there is no Australia tax from Behringer, because the way that they're distributing into our country took me a long time to lobby with Yuli and things like that, because originally they were doing it through like Sweetwater or in people like that, and it was just, you were getting taxed on middlemen. But now they're going direct to our country. We're not getting any of those stupid Australia taxes anymore. So some synth manufacturers we do, like Moog. Some we don't, like Behringer. And Roland we don't. Korg we do. Sorry, Korg, but you're shit in Australia, because you go through a company called CMI.
It's like I was offered the Soma Terra 2 weeks ago, and I've turned it down purely and simply because I don't know what the import duty will be. I'd rather wait. I'm not in a rush for it, so I'd rather wait until there is a distributor in the UK.
Yeah, my A-frame from Thomann had a sizable duty on it, so
I bet it did. Yeah.
I worked out if I was to get a Jasper, because Darren and I were talking about Jaspers, months and years ago, whatever it was, and I was looking into doing this back area here behind me in Jaspers, and I worked out by getting it through Thomann, I would probably save myself probably about 50% of the total cost, and then if I was to get it through like a local distributor here, and that includes paying the Thomann extremely expensive freight charges that they want to put on things to get it to Australia. And you guys are starting to notice that too in the UK, right? Because you've had Brexit now, freight charges.
I got all my stuff just before that Dateline crap. Well, no, tell a lie. There was one item from Tolman that didn't come, and that's what cost me the most. And it was like, I think we left on the 1st, and this was coming in February. But before then, everything was decent. It came through, didn't cost any extra, and it was great. But afterwards,
I mean,
I've not bought since from there. It's just too much to pay.
I haven't either. Last thing I bought from Tolman was my Haversons. And they were cheap. They were the cheapest. They were cheaper than any UK shop. And I don't like to.
They've sorted
I don't really want to buy from
now,
them.
haven't they?
I think they have, but I haven't bought from them since.
I don't think you pay the tax anymore. When I was looking, I told you about the Eurorack rails that I bought. When I bought them from a company called Synth Racks, which are based in South Wales. But I did find some really quite seemingly good value ones from this company. They're based in the Netherlands. It was 50 quid for the rails. I thought, oh yeah, okay, brilliant, I'll have those. And then they put 50 quid shipping cost on top. So my 50 quid for the rails plus 50 quid for the shipping, 100 plus. I was thinking, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
For things that are that big, and the package that came from South Wales this morning was it's what you'd expect. Not 100.
So because you guys have an import duty on anything above 0, basically, right? We have a threshold here in Australia, and I think they're going to probably get rid of it. But ours is $1,000. So anything anything above $1,000, we have to pay import duty and GST. Well, yours is VAT, same thing, right? But anything below that, we don't. So if I like the Behringer products are great because most of their products are below $1,000. So I don't have to pay import duty or GST on imports, which is brilliant. I think you guys have it's 100%, isn't it, on anything? So even if it was $50,
it's. I'm just looking now. There's customs duty. There's 135 quid. Anything below that.
Okay, so there is a small ceiling. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt mentioned in chat.
€100.
Matt mentioned in chat that he paid £51 for delivery from Thomann to Thailand. I pay the same. So 50 pounds, whatever that, $100 Australian, double at the moment. So I kind of feel like in some cases it's worth paying. I mean, I don't know how Thomann work out their freight costs because it literally doesn't have any logic to it in some cases. Like, you go have a play with their store and then change your country to Australia and then look at their freight costs for something really tiny like a Eurorack module. It's like £50.
I think to the UK, is anything over 150 quid from Thomann is free, isn't it? I think it's 150 quid.
Yeah, we don't get that. Yeah. Which is a shame because, you'd think Thomann would probably do, plenty in this country because there's just products that we can't get here. There's products you guys can't get, right? And so you have to order it from Thomann.
Yeah.
Like the Jasper, for example.
Yeah.
Well, I had to get that drum from there because no one else in the world carried it. So that was it.
Well, there's a few Korg products that were only available in Thomann at one stage that you couldn't get anywhere. And they fixed it with the distribution, but there was a period of a few months where you could only get certain Korg products from Thomann. I'm like, what's going on? It was weird. And the same thing happens in the US. Like Korg US, they do these sales over there, and the rest of the world don't get it. And it's like they discount the pants out of stuff. So I actually bought my SQ64 from the US.
Exactly, yeah.
Because
that's the reason I got it, because it was on sale.
It ended up being about $150 cheaper, even with all the freight and everything. What's that? Do I use it?
Do you use that?
Yeah. I use it ish. Yeah. No, I haven't had a lot.
I used it 3 times. That was about it.
One of the reasons why I got it is because it's actually polyphonic. So there, you can get multiple sequence lanes with stuff, and it's not polyphonic. So
specs are great. Use is terrible.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Too much menu divey chordal thing.
Yeah,
there's a bit of menu diving on it.
To be fair, there's an awful lot of Korg products like that that are very, very menu divey.
There he goes again.
Sorry, but it's true. I mean,
he's right.
I know you're right. Of course.
Yeah. I mean, I've got
even the
Electribe's
menu divey.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of the things that put a lot of people off menu diving, because as soon as you start going more than 2 pages in or anything like that, then it just becomes
yeah.
The OP6 makes sense because it has some complicated stuff in it. So menu diving is okay on that one.
Actually, the OP6 is easier than, say, things like the Kronos or Cross. Well, the Cross. I mean, I have to look up a manual.
Imagine an OP6 with a bigger screen and a little bit more stuff on the screen. Sometimes it's just like face palms.
See, we said
right?
this. Bigger screens. Show us what we're looking at.
Why do people do
it'll
it?
Be a lot easier, no matter how much menu diving.
Like people think, okay, how can we make this product as cheap as we can so we can make as much profit as we can? That's the reason why they're doing
charge
it.
More money. Yeah.
That's it.
Not to help us as musicians. Like, come on, help us as musicians. That's what you need to do. Not everyone is. But even then, people complain
about the price. Right?
Tiny fingers.
So.
Yeah. I used to have a really big, big beef with Roland with the menu diving on the JDXi, and I mean, after a while, you kind of just you just accept it. It's like one of those things.
You get used to it, but yeah, it's incredibly menu divey. Damn it.
Yeah. But I mean, I would love, and I don't want them to make an app on an iPad because there's another thing I've got to sit next to it. I just want them to do it in the actual box because apps always go broke after a few years and they don't update them.
But even Modal uses apps for stuff, so
Yeah.
Even fancy synths have apps.
Yeah. Well, Electron, right? Electron did the Octatrack Mark 1, okay, which great sequencer, great sampler, really, really cool product. Some people didn't like it because they didn't understand how it worked. So they bring the Mark II out, and guess what they did? They didn't make the screen any bigger. Whereas, and then they bring out the Digitact, and it had a bigger screen. I'm like, what? It's just more expensive than the... Like, some people just really don't get it, do they? I don't know. I ended up getting rid of my Octatrack because I just didn't like the screen on it. I just hated it. The screen sucks.
It's also the hardest Electron box to get into.
I didn't mind. I actually didn't mind the sequencer on it. To me, it without getting too technical with like some of its deeper features like parameter locking and stuff. I mean, actually, that was actually not even hard.
That's normal, but I'm
from a basic point of view, it was really easy to create sequences on. That part of it, I didn't have a problem with. It was just when you needed to do kind of funky things with the filters and the effects and stuff. That's when I'm like, wow, this is really stupid.
It's crazy. I watch those cuckoo videos on the Octatrack, and I'm like, I can do Digitac and Digitone, but not the Octatrack. There's no way. Yeah.
So, and a lot of people will probably say the same thing about MPC, but for me, I can get around that thing really easily. And
nice. It's also
I definitely still find things that I forget where they are, and I'm like, hang on, what menu? And I definitely do that. Yeah. So don't worry. That happens to lots of people. And we probably don't want to talk about it because it's embarrassing, right? But it does happen because we're old and we forget shit and, what happens? If you're not using it every day, like, as your main...
literally,
you've got to be keeping using it. Like the other day I turned my Akai Force on, haven't turned it on for a couple of weeks, and I'm like, shit, I forgot what that is. Hang on. Go to the manual. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hang on, go to YouTube. Yeah. Well, you do it.
Hell, I'm getting that old now. I need to make sure I turn the computer on every day to remember how to do that.
Well, Darren, you're probably with the mutable instrument modules because if you don't have a manual with those... you won't even know what to do.
I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong; they're brilliant. But things like marbles and things, if you don't use that for a while and you come to it and I'll just sit looking at it, I think I better get the manual.
They have special firmware too. You can tweak it out.
Exactly. Yeah. What are the chatties saying? Just having a completely different conversation than us.
Yeah, well, Max for Live devices. Max for Live devices are great. I don't use them in Ableton, but I do use them in Max MSP.
I've used them with my Expert Sleeper modules with my Eurorack, and they are brilliant. Like you can do things like free running LFOs, and you can send that into your modular, and it's clock synced with Ableton Link, and then you can have your MPC clock synced to Ableton Link, and your it's really, really cool. That sort of stuff is really cool. That's probably why like Ableton probably is surviving as a DAW because they keep bringing stuff like that out. We were talking the other day about, not the other day, it was probably a while ago. When did we do the Linux episode? Feels like the other day, but it was actually a long time ago.
6 months ago, maybe.
And I honestly thought that episode was a complete and utter train wreck. And then
No, it was fine.
someone actually messaged me and said, you should go rewatch it because it wasn't a train wreck at all. What it showed you is just what it's like for a beginner to touch an operating system from the first, from the first time that they would touch it, and then they're trying to get the audio to work, and they're trying to get this to work, and they're trying. That's exactly what happens, right?
This is what I've always said about. This is what I've always said about some videos. It's great to watch to learn, but if that video or that what they're explaining, starting from a point of forget the beginner, you should know how to do this.
Turn it on.
It
like I did
makes
with
the
Edge.
beginner really struggle because they're just going, no, so we do this, and but I need to go out and get there first, and that's why it's good to do it from a complete beginner. Because if you know how to do it, you can just let it go through.
And people are probably like, I can buy something new and I can plug it in and turn it on, and I don't have a problem. Great for you, awesome. You're just you've got the gift. Well done to you. I mean, but I reckon 99% of people would be like scratching their head. Like if they got the Edge, they would have probably done what I did for the first 5 minutes. Scratch their head and gone, what the hell? Where do I plug it out?
So when I buy it, you've just done that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when I was a starving college student using crack software and no manuals, I learned how to do stuff very quickly without any manuals. So
yeah. I did the same.
Photoshop.
Yeah. I never got deep into Photoshop, but I did have a cracked version of it.
I guess. I mean, if I did this show and I wasn't away for the last 3 days, I probably would have had 3 or 4 days of playing around with this product, and it probably would have looked a lot different. But I kind of felt I didn't really want that. I wanted to, in a way, not like an unboxing, but I kind of wanted to, hey, let's turn this on for the first time and share with each other what it's like. And even still with the Pro-800, I have been playing with that a bit longer, but that kind of still is very new to me. Like I haven't gone into, like we tried that Unison track for the first time tonight, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't tried on this. I don't even know if that firmware update worked.
Yeah, you got to see the update process. That's fun.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. Let's have a look let's go into Ableton. I wouldn't be surprised if we can't even see this thing in here. Let's have a look. Change the MIDI channel. Is there a Pro-800 in here? Ooh, let's have a look. Oh, it is. Look at that, little people. There's a Pro-800 in here. So I should be able to go straight to the Pro-800 now. And then... Oh. That's beautiful. So that's coming out of this... I've got an ADAT module on my desk here, right? But if I change that now to the MRC, see? That's now going through my eurorack. See? Change it back to the Pro-800. Let's change a patch. Turn the ARP off. Beautiful. So that seems to be working. I haven't broken it, people. And I haven't physically broken it. It's still here. People get worried about these things. So yeah. So USB MIDI.
You didn't throw out the screen yet. Yeah.
I probably do agree with people with that saying about the touchpads that maybe that might not last on this over the time, because you don't know how good quality it is. Don't know. But bear in mind that you can actually change patches through MIDI, through program change, and you can also change it through the Synth Drive app as well. If that ever does. It's got a 3-year warranty. If it fails you in the first 3 years, send it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, those membrane switches are kind of weird.
Yeah. But that's what was on the Pro 6, right? The Pro 600, sorry.
Probably. Never saw one in person.
It definitely had membrane switches on it.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did have membrane switches.
So they were doing that in a kind of, a nod to the original design, weren't they?
Mm.
I mean, it kind of does have that original sort of feel to it, I feel. Go and look at the Starskis video. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to bugger off in a minute, Rans.
We're going to have to bugger off too, mate. It's fine.
We're right. Just so you know, I won't be around next Saturday.
There is no show next Saturday.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. Is that the one?
Excellent.
We're having coffee, aren't we, Andy?
Hang on, let me
We're
just
having coffee in London.
Wait. I might have spoken too early. What's the date next Saturday? It is the
something
15th.
15th. That sounds about right. Yeah, 15th.
Yeah, it's the 15th. We're at Gearfest in London.
So there is no show on the 15th, and there is no show on the 22nd.
Right.
Because I'm going somewhere with the wife.
So the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're back on the 29th.
No Ranzee for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Back on the 29th. Again, I'm not sure that I'm around.
Oh, hang on. Maybe I did. Maybe I spoke too quickly. Which one's the one the 15th? Hang on.
You said next week was the one you were definitely at the Michael Jackson clone.
No, that's
show.
the 22nd.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the 22nd. 15th. I'm kind of thinking that's... Oh, hang on a minute. Am I looking at June or July?
Have a look at it. It'll say June or July at the top.
Yeah.
No, there is a... Sorry. Okay, so 15th of July. There is... It says away. Why does it say away? Hang on, I'm gonna need to check this because something's wrong with my my notes here.
Scheduling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it wrong.
Damn computers, can't trust them.
No. Can't live with them. Can't live without them.
The menu died now into lots of.
Next week.
That's a menu time. Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah, next week we're good. We've got a show. Next week there's a show.
Well, we might try and join it. If you've got
should we try and join it?
If you've got StreamYard up and running or something like that, we might try to join from Gearfest.
Brooksy, join it just before you break something at the show.
Shut up.
No. It's
So we can hear it before and after.
So it's definitely the week.
Such a reputation I don't deserve.
It's definitely the week after that we don't have a show. Okay, so the 22nd of July. That's the one I can't go to. That's when I'm going to a concert with my wife. And I think there's another one. There might be another one a bit further later on. But that's it for now. Because there was I know there was quite a few around May, June, because we've got lots of stuff going on in the family this time of year for some reason. But anyway, so there is a show next Saturday, but not the following Saturday. But I'll remind you guys next week anyway.
Cool.
One weird thing that happened this week, if you're watching, we could not schedule the show this week through YouTube, which is weird, right? So do apologize for that if no one actually got the link. But if you ever do wonder whether it's on, you can always go to my website to ranzee.com/live, and I will always have a link to the YouTube thing. Let me just grab that up for you guys so you can see /live.
Also, before I forget, Ranzee, I put the link in the chat here for the cable ties that I used from Amazon.
All right, cool.
Nice gear ties. Very cheap.
So if you go to my website and you click on, this is the front page, right? And if you click on the Synth Geekery show here, that's literally ranzee.com/live. And we'll always have a link here to the YouTube video for the next show. Okay? So that's how you find it. And that's also where you find the blog articles. So there's last week's blog article. Remember how I tell you that there's links to everything? There's links to all of our video guests. So Darren's Bandcamp, YouTube, Brooksy's YouTube, Bandcamp, blah, 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 blah. Links to the replay, links to all the funny side memes that are in there. You can scroll through them all. That was all last week, right? You can go into all of the products that we looked at, all the pictures we showed, links to the websites. Everything is in there. So that really helps people out if they want to go back and they want to research stuff that we talked about. Even the price watch stuff should be in there as well. We're not doing price watch this week. It's just not enough time. So yeah, there will be a couple of products to link to, and photos of the Behringer stuff and all that sort of stuff if you want to do it. So every image that I use on the show is the exact same image that I put on the blog article, so you can access that. Bearing in mind too, one other thing I should mention is we should always say thank you every week to the people that support my channel, which are these people. Probably should update this. I haven't updated this for a few weeks. It's probably out of date. Patreons and channel members, of course. I do apologise if I haven't updated that. If anyone's missing. Cool. So big thank you to those guys. I stream the show every week without monetization. So there is no ads running. There's no annoying crap that you see. So just remember that we do it without monetization, just for you guys, because I know lots of people, it pisses people off when they see those ads in the middle of streams. It does my head in too, don't worry. I'm just the same.
Yeah.
So that's why we ask some people to support us. You don't have to. If you can't, that's fine. Don't feel pressured. And yeah, that's it from us. Anyone want to make a quick plug?
Buy Andy's album.
Yeah.
Andy and Grace.
Yeah.
And actually, thanks to the two people that have while the show's been going. You know who you are.
Oh, Andy, can we buy that yacht yet?
What yacht? the yacht that I'm going on tomorrow.
You buy a scale model of the yacht.
Yeah. I mean, Andy, the reason I'm moving is because
can you spend our money
I'm moving
so
to the yacht. Yeah, exactly. I'm moving to the yacht.
Yeah.
You know, and
we
then
paid for your yacht.
I'm absconding with all the money.
Oh, for a pint of mate, what you can get.
Anyway, I think people are asking some people to leave.
Yeah,
so
we're going there. No?
Yeah, we're leaving. That's all right.
By the way, sorry, Robert, I really
forget.
wasn't blaming you.
Yeah.
See you guys next week. Okay, there will be a show.
We'll try and tap in through Stream.
We'll
StreamYard.
try.
Yeah, we will.
And I'll try very hard to break everything. Break nothing.
So what that means is that those two spots there are available. There, Ian and Andy. I don't know. I can't get my fingers to point properly. Yeah, those two. So if anyone wants to jump in, let me know during the week, and I can get you a special spot on the panel. Awesome. All right, guys. Say hi to your mum for me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
No
everybody.
red glue.
Bye, everyone.
Yay.
See you later.
Bye.
See you all, folks.
Take care. Have a good one.